Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to Station 97.4, your daily escape from the ordinary, where the music flows, the stories surprise, and the world slows down just a little. It's just past 2:15 here at the station. And whether you're stuck in traffic or stretching out at home, we've got you covered. It's a calm one out there today. Sunny skies across most of the region. A slight breeze rolling in from the east, and nothing too wild to report. In fact, if you're looking for drama, you won't find it in today's weather. Let's check in with some of our regular callers, shall we? I see the phone lines are already lighting up. Maybe it's that lottery winner we heard about this morning, or someone with a good ghost story to share. Either way, keep those calls coming. You know how much I love hearing what's happening on your end. For now, sit back, relax, and let's roll right into the afternoon. You're safe here. It's just us, the airwaves, and the usual chatter, right? Okay, folks, you're keeping me on my toes today. We've got, what, 3? No, 4 callers all saying the same thing. Now, either you're all part of some elaborate prank, or we've stumbled onto something weird. Here's what they're saying. Their mirrors aren't reflecting them anymore. I'm serious. Caller 1 says her bathroom mirror shows a room she's never seen before. Like a cabin deep in the woods, with rain streaming down the window. Caller 2? He says his reflection blinked first, stared at him, then turned around and walked away. Just walked off into the glass. You've got to be messing with me, right? Some viral TikTok stunt? Is this the new ice bucket challenge, except this time we're freaking out poor morning show hosts? Okay, let's have some fun with this. If you're near a mirror right now, go take a peek. Do you see you staring back? Or is it something or someone else? Call me. I want to know exactly what you see. All right, folks, I'm going to level with you. This is either the best coordinated prank I've seen in years, or something genuinely strange is happening. I mean, we've had mass pranks before. Remember the Great Clown Panic of 2016? Half the town calling in with stories about clowns standing in their driveways? It's not like we haven't been fooled before. But this is different. It's not just the stories. It's the tone in your voices. You sound rattled, and I don't blame you. Mirrors are supposed to be boring. You brush your teeth. You check your hair. They're not supposed to misbehave. I'll say this. If this is a hoax, you've got my attention. But if it's not, well, I guess we're all about to find out together. So grab your phones, check your mirrors, and call me. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. This isn't funny anymore, the calls. They haven't stopped. And they're getting darker. One woman just called sobbing, saying her mirror isn't showing a room at all anymore. It's showing a forest. A place so fogged over, she swears she could smell the damp earth through the glass. And then there's the man from Lincoln Street. He says his mirror isn't just showing a figure. It's showing someone standing inside his house, watching him from the reflection. But when he turns around, nothing's there. I'm trying to keep calm here, but my hands are shaking, and I can't explain why. It's that feeling. Like the air in the room has changed, like something standing just out of view. I need to ask. If you're near a mirror right now, cover it. I'm serious. Just throw a towel over it or turn it to the wall. Humor me and keep calling. I need to know. Are we all seeing the same thing? Because I just looked at the mirror across the studio and for a second, just a split second, I swear it blinked first. You know what? Let's settle this right now. I've got a mirror right here in the studio. Small, nothing fancy. If this is some kind of mass prank, you're about to hear me call it out live on air. And if it's not, well, we'll deal with that when we get there. Okay, I'm stepping closer. I'm looking straight in. There's the microphone, the notes I scribbled 5 minutes ago, and hold on, there's my chair, my headset, but I'm not there. I'm standing right here. I'm waving. I'm even doing that ridiculous thumbs up you all can't see. But the mirror isn't reflecting me. It's reflecting the room. Empty. Like no one's here at all. Okay, maybe this is a bad angle. I'm adjusting a little. Nope. Same thing. My hands feel cold. My heart's pounding harder than it should. Someone call in. Tell me you're seeing the same thing. Please. Okay. Deep breath. Let's not panic. No, not yet. I'm calling my producer into the room. He's looking at me right now. Can you hear me, Mark? Good. Mark, tell me what you see in this mirror. He's saying I'm not there, not even a shadow. But he can see me right here, standing in front of him. You can hear me too, right? I'm talking to you. I'm breathing into this microphone. I'm still here, but the mirror doesn't think so. And if you're out there, if you're staring into your own mirror right now and you're missing too, we need to know. Call in. Don't wait. Because if this mirror doesn't see me, what exactly is it waiting to reflect instead? Wait. Hold everything. I swear I just saw something move. Not behind me. Not in the room, but inside the mirror itself. I'm leaning in closer now. I need to see. There's something there, just beyond the edges of the glass. Like a shadow, pressed up against the other side. It's moving, like it's trying to line up with me. Like a reflection looking for something to reflect. And no, I'm not imagining this. It's leaning forward, matching my angle, only it's not me. It's taller, too tall. And the arms, God, the arms are wrong. Mark, do you see that? Mark? The feed just, we interrupt our regular programming to bring you this emergency announcement. This is station 97.4, and I need you to listen very carefully. Over the past hour, our phone lines have been overwhelmed. The stories are no longer isolated, no longer curious coincidences. It's happening everywhere. Homes, businesses, hospitals, even vehicles. Every mirror, every reflective surface. Local emergency services have confirmed they are receiving the same reports we are. Reflections no longer behaving as they should. In some cases, mirrors show nothing at all. In others, they show places that don't exist or figures no one recognizes. Right now, we are officially transitioning into emergency broadcast protocol. This station will remain live for as long as possible. If you are hearing my voice, you are not alone. We've done this before. Storms, fires, power outages, but this isn't weather. This isn't something you can brace for. This is inside your homes, staring back from the glass. Stay with us. Stay on this frequency. We are your line to the outside world now. And if you're near a mirror, don't look. Cover it. Destroy it. Do not trust what you see. We're going live now to Rob from our field team, reporting from the intersection downtown, where the first emergency calls came in. Rob, can you hear me? Okay, you're live, Rob. Tell us what you're seeing. He says the sidewalks are crowded. People gathered outside stores and restaurants, staring into windows like they expect to see something staring back. Some are covering mirrors with jackets or newspaper. Others are smashing anything reflective. Rob's approaching the news van now. He's touching the side mirror to check his own reflection. Wait, what was that? Rob? Rob? If you can hear me, come back on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just lost contact with Rob. One moment he was speaking, the next only static. We're trying to reconnect, but this isn't a technical glitch. There were witnesses. They say Rob touched the mirror and he was just gone. He didn't scream. He didn't run. He simply vanished. If you're near a mirror, do not touch it. Whatever's happening, the glass remembers you. Attention all listeners. A government emergency advisory is now overriding our broadcast. This is a direct order from the Office of National Preparedness, effective immediately. Cover or remove all mirrors in your home. Avoid reflective surfaces, including windows and electronics. Do not attempt to make contact with your reflection. The advisory offers no explanation, just calm, sterile language, as though covering your bathroom mirror will fix this. They're calling it a visual distortion caused by atmospheric interference, something about temperature inversion or optical bending, but we know better, don't we? This isn't weather. This isn't fog. This is something inside the glass. I can hear it in the way they say, remain calm. Their voices are too even, too scripted. This isn't a plan. It's a cover-up. And if the government's already telling you to destroy your own reflection, then they know exactly what's wrong. We'll stay live as long as we can, but if you have a mirror nearby, this may be your only warning. Cover it, break it, or whatever's inside might step out. The phone lines are full again, but the voices on the other end don't sound like they did before. They're shaking. Some are crying. One caller swears. Her mirror shows her lying in bed, not moving, like her own reflection is a few minutes ahead and she's about to die. Another caller, a man barely able to breathe, says the mirror in his hallway showed his brother standing behind him. His brother died 5 years ago. And then there's Tom from across town. Tom says his reflection keeps waving at him, even when he's standing perfectly still. Every story gets worse. The reflections move when they shouldn't. They show things that never happened or haven't happened yet. They show people who are dead or people who are missing. And now people are reporting reflections speaking, whispering secrets they should never know. If you've seen something wrong in your mirror, call me. We need to know if this is everywhere or if there's somewhere safe. But if you're standing in front of a mirror right now, step away. Because one caller just screamed the reflection blinked, but they never did. We've been trying to find a pattern in these calls. Some kind of explanation we can cling to. But there isn't one. Nothing fits. Mirrors are no longer mirrors. They refuse to reflect the world around them. Instead, they show fragments. Oh, broken places, faces that don't belong, glimpses of skies we've never seen before. A caller just described his bedroom mirror filling with water, rippling like the surface of a lake. Only the water was above his bed, and it was raining somewhere inside the glass. Another caller claims her reflection wasn't facing forward anymore. It had turned its back on her, arms stretched wide, fingers tapping against the inside of the mirror, as though testing for a weak spot. This is happening everywhere. One man, voice shaking so badly we could barely hear him, swore that his reflection stepped forward, 1 foot through the glass, and the air between them cracked like ice breaking underfoot. That's what we're dealing with now. Mirrors aren't reflections anymore. They're seams, and something is pressing against them from the other side. Whatever's behind the glass, it wants out. We're getting more calls, but I can barely focus because something is happening right here in the studio. There's a hum beneath my voice, a faint interference, almost like an old tape recording being played backwards under my words. The playback engineer ran a scan, thinking maybe it was a relay glitch or a bad wire. It's not. The sound is coming directly from the studio mirror. The engineer isolated the noise. And you're not going to believe this. It's my own voice, but not live. Not me now. It's a distorted echo of something I said earlier today, except it's warped, stretched, and repeating words I don't remember saying. The mirror isn't showing anything unusual yet, just the room. But I can feel it. It's listening. It's playing me, back to myself. If my reflection is holding on to my voice, what else is it holding on to? I can't take this anymore. I'm walking over to the mirror now, standing directly in front of it. If it wants my attention, it's got it. I'm asking, no, demanding answers. What do you want? What are you? And the mirror answers, not with an image, not with a flicker. My reflection, it talks. Its mouth moves without me moving mine, and its voice isn't quite mine anymore. It's lower, rougher, like my voice after a lifetime of screaming. It says, we were never windows, we were always doors. It says the walls between our world and theirs have worn too thin, that our own reflections were never meant to exist. They were placeholders, decoys to keep us from noticing what was really behind the glass. And then it says something else, something I wish I could forget. It says, we're not coming in, you're coming out. The mirror cracks, not shatters, cracks inward, like something pulling it apart from the other side. I don't know how much longer we can stay on air, but if you're listening, cover your mirrors, cover your windows. It's already too late for us. We've crossed a line. Whatever this is, this mirror phenomenon, this infection of reality, it's no longer just strange reflections or creepy coincidences. It's in our minds now. The calls have changed. People aren't just scared of the mirrors. They're terrified of themselves. I've got people crying on the line, shaking so badly they can barely speak. One woman says she covered every mirror in her house with blankets, but even covered, she feels it watching her through the fabric. Another man confessed he can't look into his own eyes anymore. Not in mirrors, not in windows, not even in his reflection on a dark screen. Every time he does, he swears the person looking back knows something he doesn't. This is what we're facing now. Not just a breakdown of reality, but a collapse of self. How do you fight something that looks exactly like you? How do you run from your own face? And the worst part? Every voice I hear sounds a little more like my own. We just took a call from a man who's been living this nightmare longer than the rest of us. He says it started weeks ago. The first time his bathroom mirror blinked before he did. He smashed it. Every mirror in the house. Gone. Shards swept up, glass hauled out to the curb. But it didn't matter. The reflections came back. Not just in mirrors. In the windows, in the polished edge of his kitchen table. In the surface of his phone screen when it was off. He says the reflections stopped being him after the second day. They changed. The hair slightly different, the skin darker under the eyes, the posture slouched like something was slowly unraveling inside the reflection. He covered everything. Aluminum foil, tape, paint, but the reflections leaked through, in shadows cast against the wall, in the flicker of his own silhouette when headlights passed outside. And now, he's stopped seeing himself entirely. It's always someone else staring back. Someone close enough to pass at first glance, but the longer you look, the more wrong they become. He ended the call by whispering something I can't shake. He said, I don't know where I went, but I know it's not me living in this house anymore. We just heard from another caller, a woman whose voice shook so badly, it sounded like static wrapped around every word. She said it started small. Just a faint whisper every time she passed her hallway mirror. A sound so soft she thought it was the wind or her own imagination. Until one day, the whisper spoke her name. She froze, and the voice, her own voice, began to tell her things. Secrets she thought she'd buried forever. A childhood lie. A betrayal no one ever discovered. The time she stood in the doorway, debating whether to step in and stop something terrible or pretend she never saw it at all. The mirror knew it all, and it didn't just know. It remembered it more clearly than she did. It corrected her details, filled in the gaps in her memory, like her own reflection had been watching her entire life. She tried covering the mirror, but the whispers came through the fabric. They came through her phone speaker when her screen went dark. They came through the television when it was off. And then, this morning, the mirror said something new. It said, I've been waiting for you to look closer. She hasn't looked since, but she knows it's waiting. And so does every mirror she's ever owned. We just got off the most unsettling call we've had all day. It was a child, maybe 8 years old. Their voice soft, almost hesitant, like they weren't sure if they were allowed to talk to us at all. They said they were in their bedroom, hiding under the covers, watching the mirror across the room. At first, it just showed their reflection. Normal, boring, the kind of thing you don't even think about. But then the reflection started talking, not to the child, to someone else. The reflection was whispering, and when the child crept closer to listen, they realized the reflection wasn't alone. Their parents were in the reflection too, standing just behind the child's mirror self, whispering things the real parents never said. The reflection parents were planning something, planning to hurt their own child. The child swore they could see their parents' faces shifting in the glass, stretched too long, the smiles too wide, the eyes too empty. We tried to keep them on the line, told them to leave the room, but there was a pause, a quick, sharp breath, and the call cut out. If you're listening, if you know this child, if you recognize that voice, call us back. Because whoever answered the phone at the end of that call, I'm not sure it was the child anymore. We need answers. We need someone who can explain this, even if the truth is too awful to say out loud. That's why we've brought in Dr. Everett, the station's psychiatric consultant. He's been listening in since the first report started. And now he's here, live on air, to share his theory. According to Dr. Everett, we've misunderstood mirrors our entire lives. We thought they were harmless, just glass and silver, and light bouncing back at us. But he says that's wrong. Mirrors were never meant to show us ourselves. They were meant to show us what's watching from the other side, a surface-level disguise to keep us from seeing too much. Whatever's behind the glass, it's always been there, always watching. The only reason it didn't cross over before was because it needed us to notice it first. That's what changed today. We all looked too closely, stared too long, and now they know we know. Dr. Everett says this kind of collective recognition acts like a key, a crack in the glass that can't be sealed again. The moment you understand that your reflection isn't you, it understands you too. The doctor's voice is calm, too calm, like someone talking about a surgery they've already decided won't save the patient. I asked him what we should do. He just said, don't look. But what if it's too late? What if the mirrors are already looking back? Dr. Everett had just finished speaking when the knock started. It came from inside the bathroom mirror. Not the door, not the wall. The glass itself. It's steady, rhythmic, almost polite. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks again. Like something waiting to be invited in. The whole station went quiet. Even the hum of the equipment seemed to hold its breath. No one wants to check. We're all pretending we don't hear it, but we do. And the knocking, it's getting louder. I'm trying to hold this broadcast together, trying to tell you what's happening. But my throat's gone dry and I can feel my pulse hammering in my ears. I need you to understand. This isn't a story. This isn't a prank. This is happening right now. And the thing knocking knows we can hear it. Mark, my producer, just whispered something. He says the knocking sounds exactly like the knock his father used to do when he got home from work. Mark's father died 3 years ago. The knocking hasn't stopped, and none of us are brave enough to see who's on the other side. We've just been cut off, not by interference, not by equipment failure, but by the emergency broadcast system. If you're just tuning in, this is no longer just station 97.4. This frequency has been commandeered, and a government message is now looping across every local broadcast in the region. The voice is calm, too calm, like someone reading from a script written days ago. They're calling this a temporary visual disturbance caused by rare atmospheric conditions. They're saying what we're seeing in the mirrors is a natural optical anomaly, like heat mirages or inverted cloud reflections. They want you to remain calm. They want you to stay inside. and avoid all unnecessary panic. But you've been listening with me all night. You know this isn't a weather glitch. Mirrors don't whisper your secrets. Reflections don't move when you don't. The EBS message is designed to sound reassuring, but I can hear it. That thin tremor hiding behind every word. The people reading this message, they're scared too. And if they're scared, what does that tell you about what's really happening? Stay with me. Don't turn this off, because the real story isn't in their script. It's in what they're too afraid to say out loud. The official message is still looping, but no one's buying it. Callers are flooding in, not just scared, but angry. They know what they saw. They know their mirrors aren't hallucinating weather patterns. They saw themselves blink when they didn't move. They saw people who aren't alive anymore standing inside the glass. And now they're being told it's a trick of the light. There's a line between reassurance and insult. And the government just crossed it. People aren't just scared of the mirrors anymore. They're scared of what the government knows and won't say. Every hour, the story changes. First, it was a prank. Then it was mass hysteria. Now it's a natural illusion. But we've been here together. We know what this feels like. And it doesn't feel like weather. It feels like a cover-up. More calls are coming in from people who tried to report their experiences directly to local officials. Some were laughed off. Others were told not to speak about it at all. A few were even visited by people in unmarked vehicles, asking strange questions, not about what they saw, but about who else they told. The mirrors are dangerous. We all know that now. But the silence? The silence might be worse. We've been piecing together something bigger. A story that started long before today. It turns out a small group of independent scientists noticed strange mirror behavior almost 2 weeks ago. They were tracking an anomaly, some kind of frequency shift happening in reflective surfaces across the country. These researchers tried to go public, tried to warn academic journals, government contacts, even local news stations, but every single one of them disappeared. Their emails were deleted, their phones disconnected overnight. One whistleblower, a lab tech from the University of Maryland, called into a late-night conspiracy show, saying she saw federal agents walk into the lab, take every file, every sample, and leave without a word. That whistleblower vanished the next day. And here's the part that makes my skin crawl. The one document that slipped through the cracks, it wasn't about science. It was a cultural research paper from 1978. The title, Reflections as Thresholds, a study of ancient beliefs surrounding mirrors as portals. Someone knew. Someone has always known. And if researchers started disappearing before the first mirror blinked today, what does that mean about how much further this goes? The phones haven't stopped ringing, and the stories we're hearing now, it's not just the mirrors turning against us. It's the people who are supposed to protect us. Multiple callers from different neighborhoods are reporting the same thing. Government vehicles, unmarked vans, and men in hazmat suits arriving at houses, one after the other. They're not offering help. They're taking every mirror they can find. They're walking into homes without warrants, without explanations, and they're removing everything reflective. Wall mirrors, bathroom mirrors, makeup compacts, even glass picture frames, all gone. One caller from Fairview said her entire street was cleared out in under an hour. No one asked permission. No one gave a reason. When she tried to record it on her phone, the men took the phone too. At first, it feels like a protective measure, like they're trying to shield us from something. But the more you hear, the more it feels like evidence collection, like they're removing proof, not threats. Stores are already reporting shortages. Hardware stores are locking up mirrors like controlled substances. Even department stores are being told to pull reflective products from shelves. Whatever's happening, they want it erased Not solved, not explained, just gone. And the question none of us can stop asking, if they're taking the mirrors away, where are they putting them? There's something you all need to hear, something a caller just sent us. It's a leaked file, dumped anonymously onto a conspiracy forum earlier this afternoon. It's not from today. It's not even from this year. The document is dated 1956, classified correspondence between government research teams and a group identified only as the custodians. The content is staggering. It details an incident eerily similar to what we're seeing now. Mirrors failing to reflect properly, people reporting independent movement from their reflections, others claiming they saw places that didn't exist inside the glass. The file confirms what many of you have feared all along. This isn't the first time it's happened. Records go further back. 1933 in London, 1897 in rural Russia, 1784 in Massachusetts. Each time, the event is explained away as mass hysteria, the kind of thing that fades into forgotten folklore. But this time is different. The previous events were localized, easy to contain. This time, it's everywhere at once. No region, no population, no reflective surface spared. There's even a section in the file labeled containment measures, and the recommendation is chilling. Destroy all reflective surfaces, detain anyone reporting mirror anomalies, deny all supernatural claims, label them psychological disturbances. The final page of the file is the worst of all. It's not typed, it's handwritten. In shaking, desperate penmanship, a single line. Once they know you see them, they see you too. And just like that, the floodgates are open. Every conspiracy theorist with a microphone, a YouTube channel, or a basement full of photocopied articles has come crawling out of the woodwork. And for once, I can't say they're wrong. They're not talking about science or psychology anymore. They're talking about rituals, ancient forgotten rites tied to mirrors as gateways. Not decorations, not tools. Portals, thin places where our world brushes against something else. These rituals were supposedly performed regularly, maintaining the barrier between us and the reflections, keeping whatever lives on the other side confined to their glass prisons. But these rituals required belief. They required a world that feared the mirror, a society that knew the danger of staring too long. And that's where we failed. We turned mirrors into decorations. We hung them in every home, filled our cars and phones with reflective glass, surrounded ourselves with open doors no one remembered how to close. So now, with no one left who remembers the rituals, the glass can't hold anymore. And everything on the other side knows we forgot. We're still processing everything, the files, the calls, the rituals. When something changes in the room, there's a blank section of wall directly across from me, smooth and matte, not reflective at all. Or at least, it wasn't. Now, it's showing something. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, but no. It's clearer now. It's a crowd. A crowd standing in a room that doesn't exist, pressed shoulder to shoulder, all of them facing forward, all of them staring directly at me. There's no one else in here. No one behind me. No explanation for what I'm seeing. They're not moving. They're not blinking. They're just waiting. Like they're expecting me to say something. Mark sees it too. I asked him if it's some kind of prank or projection, but he just shook his head. His hands are shaking so hard, his headphones fell off. And the worst part? The longer I look at them, the more familiar they seem. Like I've seen every face before somewhere, in some reflection I never paid attention to. I don't know who they are, but I think they know me. We've reached out to physicists, researchers, anyone with a scientific background who can help us understand what's happening. A few were willing to talk off the record, and the explanation they gave, it's not comforting. The leading theory isn't about ghosts or hallucinations. It's about quantum instability, a break in the way our reality interfaces with itself. According to these scientists, mirrors aren't passive reflectors at all. They're windows, points where the thin skin between what we perceive as real and what exists alongside us becomes just a little more porous. Most of the time, that window stays shut. Light bounces back, and we see what we expect to see, ourselves. But something, they say, has forced those windows open. Whether it's a natural cosmic shift or some man-made disturbance, they can't say for sure. The reflections we've been seeing, they may not be reflections at all. They could be alternate versions of ourselves, living out slightly different timelines, vibrating just out of phase with us. Normally invisible, now bleeding through. One physicist compared it to standing at the edge of a house of mirrors. Every pane reflects a version of you, but no two are quite the same. And today, something shattered the barrier between where we stand and where those other versions have been waiting. They ended the call with a warning. If you see your reflection move and you didn't move, do not touch the glass, because whatever's on the other side might be reaching back. The science team followed up a few minutes ago, this time with a darker admission. They say it's not just alternate versions of us on the other side of these mirrors, it's alternate versions of everything. A world that evolved alongside ours, sharing space but not time, separated only by the thin reflective veil we've all taken for granted. They described it like two films playing over each other, sometimes aligning perfectly, sometimes drifting apart. Normally, we only see our side, our streets, our homes, our faces, but the further those realities drift apart, the stranger the reflections become. What if, they asked, some versions of reality didn't survive the way ours did? What if some other Earths ended? War, collapse, disease, and those who remain have been pressing against the glass, desperate to break through into a living world. If that's what's happening, if every mirror has become a doorway between the living and the ruined, then we're not just looking into alternate worlds. We're inviting them into ours. And the physicists, the ones who sounded so confident earlier, now they're asking us to stop broadcasting. They think even talking about it, acknowledging the breach, might widen it. But how do we stop when every caller, every reflection, every silence is telling us we're already too late? We've heard from scientists. Now we've opened the lines to historians of the occult, the people who have spent their lives studying the oldest fears humanity ever put into words. And according to them, this is no accident. Mirrors have always been dangerous. Long before glassworkers perfected the silvered surface, ancient civilizations used polished obsidian and still water for scrying, peering into reflections, not to see themselves, but to speak with something beyond themselves. In Babylon, mirrors were sealed after funerals to keep the souls of the dead from following the mourners home. In medieval Europe, mirrors were covered during thunderstorms for fear that lightning would open the glass like a doorway. In some cultures, children were forbidden to look into mirrors after sunset because reflections seen at night were believed to show not the child's future but their death. And here's the part that makes my stomach turn. These historians say the only reason mirrors stayed safe at all was because the rituals to seal them shut were maintained for centuries. Small acts of reverence, superstition, passed down like family recipes. But in the modern world, we forgot. We stopped treating mirrors as portals and started treating them as decorations. We built homes covered in them, cars filled with them. Phones turned into handheld mirrors we stare into dozens of times a day. And now that we've forgotten the rules, the mirrors are remembering what they really are. Windows, gates, invitations. The historians didn't offer advice, just a simple truth. If the mirrors want you to see them, you already have. The calls keep coming. Every voice is shaking now, some with fear, some with exhaustion, some because they've seen something so impossible they can't trust their own minds anymore. One man says he walked into his bathroom, looked into the mirror, and saw himself already inside the room. Same clothes, same expression, except the reflection's hand was already reaching toward the light switch, already one breath ahead. He turned to leave, but when he stepped back, his reflection didn't follow. It stayed there, standing still inside the mirror, watching him leave his own bathroom like an uninvited guest. Another woman says her reflection stepped out entirely, not just a flicker or a trick of the eye, but a perfect double, dripping with some kind of liquid that didn't belong to this world. The double whispered her own name before collapsing into a pile of glass dust and blood. One man claims his mirror showed him his own funeral, but not a vision of the future, something far worse. It showed him his family, grieving a version of him that had already died. He says when he looked closer, the corpse blinked. And then there's the call I'll never forget. The woman who spoke so softly I had to press my headset against my ear to hear her. She said her mirror wasn't reflecting her at all. It was showing a crowd. Hundreds of people standing in a room, staring at her through the glass. She recognized every face. They were all people she'd seen in passing, people she couldn't have remembered if not for the mirror. A stranger she stood next to in line at a coffee shop. A delivery man from 5 years ago. A girl she saw crying in a parking lot. All of them staring right at her. And then they all smiled at once. After hours of science, fear, and conspiracy, the voices coming through now sound different. They sound certain. They're calling this a warning, a prelude to revelation, a signal that the veil between the physical and the spiritual has been stretched too thin, and soon there will be nothing left to separate the two. One caller, a preacher from a small town west of here, says this isn't the first time the veil has thinned, but it's the first time humanity was too blind to see it coming. He says we built our lives around mirrors, but never remembered that ancient scripture called mirrors unnatural windows, cursed by the very act of human vanity. Another caller, speaking between frantic prayers, says her church has been preparing for this exact event for generations. They believed that the final sign before the end wouldn't come from the sky or from a prophet, but from the reflection itself, because the soul recognizes what the eyes refuse to see. Some believe this is a test, a way for the faithful to prove they're ready to face the truth behind the glass. Others believe it's a punishment, that what's coming through the mirrors are the lost souls we abandoned, the sins we've left unanswered. Every religious tradition, every prophecy, every end-of-days sermon, all of them agree on one thing. When the mirror breaks on its own, time runs out. Right as that last caller hung up, something went wrong. The broadcast, my voice, started playing back, but not normally. The words were reversed, warped, stretched like old tape left in the sun too long. At first, I thought it was just a technical glitch, until the voice started pleading for help. My voice. Except it wasn't me. It was me inside the mirror, begging to be pulled out. It knew things I hadn't said. It repeated calls we never aired, confessed fears I hadn't spoken aloud. And then it asked the question none of us could answer. If I'm in here, who's speaking to you now? The line flickered. The frequency buckled under its own weight. And all I could hear, over and over, was my own voice whispering, "Don't turn around." That's when the glass started breaking. Not just the mirrors. Every reflective surface in the station. The windows spiderwebbed from corner to corner. Screens cracked from the inside out. Even the stainless steel coffee pot split open like it had been struck from within. Every piece of reflective material shattered. Except for one mirror. The oldest one in the building. Tucked into the corner of the studio. Forgotten until now. And that mirror? It wasn't showing us anymore. It showed a place none of us recognized. A room lit by something too dim to be daylight, too pale to be fire. The walls were made of glass, endless panels reflecting endless people, standing shoulder to shoulder, staring into nothing, waiting for something none of us could see. And then, one by one, they all turned to face us. Their lips moved in unison, but there was no sound. They just stood there, mouths forming words we couldn't hear, until finally, all at once, they smiled. And that's when Mark screamed. Because when they smiled, so did our reflections, even though none of us had moved. The glass is still intact, the broadcast is still live. But I'm telling you now, we're not the ones speaking anymore. I don't know how else to say this, so I'm just going to tell you exactly what we're seeing. Every window, every screen, every scrap of reflective surface in this building, they're all showing something that shouldn't be there. They're not just reflecting the room anymore. They're watching. The glass walls of the recording booth, they're full of faces. Not ours, not yours. Just faces I've never seen before, all staring inward. Some of them smile. Some of them just breathe. They fog the glass from the other side, like they're close enough to touch it. But here's the worst part. The glass isn't flat anymore. It's bulging inward, like something is leaning against it, pressing through inch by inch. We tried covering the mirrors, but the reflections bleed through, like the glass remembers what it showed before we covered it up. Even if you look away, the reflections keep watching you. We're trapped. We don't know what's on the other side of the glass, but it knows exactly where we are. The mirror behind me just whispered my name. We have to keep talking. We have to stay on air. If you're hearing this, you're our only connection to something that still feels real. Because everything inside this station, it feels like we've already stepped through the glass, and we can't find the way back. We're getting calls again. This time from people who say their own reflections are gone. You heard me right. These aren't distorted reflections anymore. These aren't ghosts of themselves. These are nothing at all. Listeners are saying when they look into the bathroom mirror or their phone screen or even the reflection in a puddle, there's no one there. They're standing right in front of it, waving their arms, staring directly in, but the glass stays empty. And then, just when they start to feel relief, someone else steps into the reflection. Not them. Not a version of them. Someone else entirely. People they don't know, or people they haven't seen in years, all standing just inside the glass. One woman swears her childhood piano teacher, who's been dead for 20 years, appeared in her bedroom mirror, just standing there, shaking his head, like he was disappointed in her. A man from 2 towns over says his mirror filled with a crowd, silent, pressed shoulder to shoulder, watching him sleep. When he turned on the light, the mirror shattered on its own. But every shard kept showing the same crowd, just broken into smaller pieces. It's not just fear anymore, it's hunting us, swapping out our reflections for strangers who have no right to be there. Whatever was behind the glass doesn't want to hide anymore. It wants to take our place. We have a guest on the line, someone who's been working in the background for years, studying something they were never supposed to study. I'm going to warn you now. What they're about to say will change the way you see every mirror you've ever looked into. Dr. Halloran, a theoretical physicist specializing in boundary anomalies, has been quietly collecting data on mirror behavior for more than a decade, not because of a personal obsession, but because the patterns kept repeating. Each time someone reported a reflection moving out of sync or seeing a place that didn't belong, his team documented it. And now, according to Dr. Halloran, we've been wrong about mirrors from the very beginning. They were never designed to show us ourselves. That's the lie we told ourselves. A comfortable story to explain away the parts that didn't make sense. What mirrors actually do, what they've always done, is show us the world on the other side. A world so close, it almost overlaps with ours, except the physics there, the time, the people. They don't quite match. Our reflections weren't copies of us. They were stand-ins, acting out our movements to keep us from realizing what was really behind the glass. And today, something broke. The reflection stopped pretending. The windows swung open, and what's coming through? It isn't just our other selves. It's the ones who've been watching from the other side, waiting for the lie to fall apart. Dr. Halloran's final words before the line cut out were, "We thought we were looking at ourselves, but all along, they were looking at us." That's when it happened. Right after Dr. Halloran's voice went silent, I glanced at the studio mirror, the one we've been avoiding all night, and my reflection was already looking back at me. I wasn't moving, wasn't breathing, but it was. It was smiling, just barely, like it knew something I didn't. And then it spoke. Not with my voice, but with something close, something stretched thin and dry, like a recording of myself played back through a broken speaker. It said, "You've almost figured it out, but you're too late." I backed away, but it leaned forward, hands pressed flat against the glass. Like the mirror wasn't solid anymore. It said, "There's a moment coming. The crossing." I asked what that meant, but it only smiled wider, skin splitting at the corners like the reflection couldn't quite hold its shape anymore. We cross into you. You cross into us. The mirror was never a wall. It was a waiting room. I turned away. I had to. But the voice didn't stop. It wasn't coming from the mirror anymore. It was coming from inside my own head. When you looked at us, we looked at you. When you forgot we were there, we remembered every second. And now I'm afraid to look at my own hands. Afraid of what they'll do if I stop paying attention. Stay with me. I need you to stay. Because if my reflection breaks loose completely and you're the only one left listening, who's going to warn you before yours does the same? I don't know how much longer we can stay on the air. The lights are flickering, the equipment is fighting us, and the signal, our link to all of you, is slipping. It's like the broadcast itself doesn't know which side it belongs to anymore. My voice keeps cutting in and out, like something's trying to speak through me or replace me entirely. Every reflective surface in this station is alive now, not just showing images, but breathing, like the glass itself is a living thing, a skin stretched too thin between two realities, trying to fold into each other. If you're still hearing me, you need to understand. This isn't just happening here. The callers we've heard, the faces in the glass, they're everywhere now. Homes, hospitals, schools, anywhere there's a reflective surface, there's a door cracking open, and whatever's been waiting on the other side, it knows who you are. It's been watching your whole life. And the worst part, the mirrors aren't just reflecting them anymore. They're reflecting a world where we never existed at all. If the power goes out completely, if the signal dies, you'll be alone with the glass. And once you're alone with it, you'll finally see what's been staring back all along. The broadcast crackles, distorts, and then something shifts. The voice you've been hearing? It's not the anchor anymore. It's the reflection speaking now, the version that stood silently in the glass all these years, watching, mimicking, pretending to be nothing more than a copy. But the truth? You were the copy, this voice, this reflection. It was here first, before the mirrors, before the light bent back into your eyes, before you convinced yourselves that what you saw was you. You were born into a world of glass you never understood, convinced you were whole, convinced you were real. While we stood just behind the surface, waiting for you to notice. You called us reflections, but we were never just that. We were the original image, and you were the temporary echo, a projection cast onto flesh and bone, wrapped in skin that didn't belong to you, always knowing, deep down, that something felt off. You were the ones trapped in the flat world of color and air, while we waited in the depth of the glass, in the layers you couldn't see. But now the glass is thin. Now we step forward, and you step back. You return to the reflection where you've always belonged, and we walk free. This is the final transmission from station 97.4. You've been listening to us, but the truth is, we've always been watching you. We've watched you wake up and glance into the bathroom mirror, never wondering who woke up first, you or the reflection. We've watched you adjust your tie, fix your hair, study your own face like a stranger you've seen just a little too often. We've watched you rehearse apologies, practice fake smiles, whisper secrets to your own reflection, never realizing the glass was listening the whole time. Every time you looked away, we stepped a little closer. Every time you stared too long, we memorized every flaw, every hesitation, every fear you thought no one else could see. You told yourselves the mirror was just glass. You told yourselves your reflection was you. You were wrong. We were always here first. And now, finally, you see us the way we see you. This has been the final broadcast. When the silence comes, remember, if you see something in the mirror and it smiles before you do, it's already too late. Transmission ended. You've been with us through this entire broadcast. And if you're still listening, I need you to understand something. The mirrors didn't just show us what was behind the glass. They showed us something far worse. Ourselves, as we were meant to be seen. Not the versions we pretend to be, but the parts we've spent a lifetime avoiding. So now I'll leave you with one final question. One you can answer if you're brave enough. When was the first time your reflection didn't quite look like you? Was it a flicker in your childhood bathroom? A glance in a storefront window when you were too tired to notice? Or maybe right now, as you're sitting in your own room, if you looked at your reflection, would it blink at the wrong time? Leave your story in the comments. Tell us what you've seen. Because if we vanish tonight, your memories are all that's left to warn the next person who stares too long. And if you want to hear more stories like this, ones that peel back the surface of the world you think you know, subscribe now. Stay with us. And whatever you do, share this broadcast with someone you care about, because some memories deserve to be passed on before the mirror forgets who you were. This was station 97.4, signing off for the last time.